We are the most informed generation in history, yet somehow the dumbest. Think about it. Late night, early morning, at the touch of a button, we can discover anything and everything on our phones. We've got breaking news. We've got think pieces. We've got the middle name of George Clooney's kids. We are inundated with so much information, but at the same time, we stop and we close these apps and we ask ourselves, when was the last time I finished a book or had a real deep conversation or even accomplished something that we set out for ourselves? So maybe we're not the dumbest. Maybe we're the most overstimulated or the most fried or maybe the generation with the shortest attention span. And today I'm going to share with you 5 habits that I use to rebuild my brain. And I'm not going to share with you more information or more ways to hustle. These are just the small, boring things that made my brain feel alive again. So let's get right into it. Number 1, I invest in real hobbies. My first step in this was recognizing that I actually didn't have a lot of hobbies. I had a lot of things that I had interest in, but was I doing them? Not really. That previous version of me looked a lot like me spending time on my phone, imagining me doing things that I wanted to do, feeling guilty about not doing the things that I was wanting to do. And it really hit me, especially when I had time on the weekends, for example, and I still felt drained after doing absolutely nothing. I finally said enough and I took action, and I created 3 tiers for myself: a free hobby, a coffee money hobby, and an investment hobby. So this free hobby for me looks a lot like reading. I told you this before. I love the app Libby. I love my library card. I love being able to go and download as many as possible, and I put them on my Kindle, and all of it is free. You also have access to a lot of like free domain or open domain books online where you can download them PDF, and you're not copywriting, you're not pirating, you're not doing anything bad. But it's now something that I absolutely love, and I'm very consistent with it. I fall asleep with the book almost every night, and my sleep score is always through the roof when I do it too. So double whammy right there. Next is my coffee money hobby. I got the crochet bug. I'm not somebody who's going to crochet 1 million pieces in a year. I might do 4, 5, maybe 6. So I've been able to justify putting, maybe 2 coffees per week into a little fund, my coffee money, to order new patterns or yarn or crochet hooks. It should feel like a little sacrifice, nothing too crazy. And it should feel exciting because you're still receiving a reward, even though you're not maybe doing everything that you want to do. It also gives me personally an incentive that if I, sacrificed one thing that I really like for something else, then I'm way more likely to put time into it. Currently, I am crocheting a computer case, and it's this nice bright red recycled cotton yarn, t-shirt yarn. That's what it's called. It hurts. I'm warning you guys, it is such a cute pattern and I love it, but it hurts your fingers. Like, this yarn is so hard, but it's going to be even more satisfying when I finish it. And then number 3, your investment hobby. This is what I determine as something that takes a lot of brain space and maybe even a little bit of an investment money-wise. I typically try to do this like seasonally, maybe spring, summer, fall, winter. So I am just getting into my back into my spring, summer, where I'm beefing up my running schedule. So I would love to say that running is a free hobby, and it's not. It is more of my investment hobby right now, with the shoes and the gear and the protein powder and all the things that I personally want to implement and invest in. For this, I have a little budget that I have set aside for my investment hobby every single month, and it's something that I am obsessed with. Like, it's annoying. It's annoying at this point, but I love it, and I put my time and my energy and my finances behind it, and it's something that makes me feel alive. Other ideas that I've had are getting a DJ set secondhand, learning how to use the software on YouTube. I would love to take knitting classes at some point, because as much as I love crocheting, I think I'd be more likely to knit myself things than crochet myself things. But unlike the coffee money hobby, this should feel like a real sacrifice, because then you are 10 times more likely to actually follow through with it and to do it instead of just letting it collect dust. You put the time, you put the energy, you put the money behind it. Do it. You're gonna do it. From a scientific standpoint, mentally engaging hobbies are actually linked to better cognitive function, better neuroplasticity, and memory, especially as we age. So science basically says when you give your brain something to do instead of something to consume or just watch, your brain is actually building new connections. And that gave me even better of a reason to have guilty pleasures because now I can make an excuse and it is all about maintenance. Number two, I hacked my life to slow down. Confession, I am always late to everything. It's something that I'm working on, and I used to pretend like it wasn't because of my phone. But awareness is the first step. And I recently recognized how I'm always 10 minutes late. And oftentimes it's because while I was getting ready, I was scrolling through trying to find the perfect getting ready YouTube video. And then I'd finally find the video, I'd press play, and then I'd be putting my mascara on like a sloth because I'm not actually focusing on what I'm doing. And then on the days where I'm not blaming it on my phone, I swing to the complete other side of the spectrum. I'm not scrolling, I'm not watching anything, I am just rushing, pure fury. I'm power walking to the metro, I am shoving food in my mouth, I'm mentally drafting my to-do list for the day and bumping into people. It felt as if there were only two modes in my life: me numbing myself with my phone or me rushing through it and not even experiencing it. That's when it clicked for me. It wasn't just me spending time on my phone, it's what my phone was teaching me. I trained my brain to either look for stimulation or urgency 24/7. So I started putting guardrails around my phone use so I wasn't feeling like I was searching for it all the time or rushing through life when I wasn't using it. And it's all about balance. So I don't spend time on my phone the first hour that I wake up and the last hour that I'm awake. I give that time back to myself. And I do not do it on willpower alone because we know that is not going to work. I have my block sessions on Opal locked and loaded, so I don't even have to question whether I'm gonna have to fight with myself. And in that time, in the mornings and in the evenings, I replace it with things that I really enjoy, and that helped me slow down. So I'll listen to a calming playlist instead that I curated, and have my coffee that I drink. I don't actually drink coffee, but I do drink like mushroom tea stuff. It's pretty nice. But it allows me to find enjoyment in the slow things, in the things that aren't overstimulating. And it also gives me time to get ready in the day and be on time. And then in the evening, I get to cook dinner and I get to spend time with my loved ones. I'll read and I'll romanticize my evenings instead of just laying on my bed rotting. Research shows that problematic smartphone use is connected to poorer self-control and an altered sense of reward processing. So it's not just bad discipline. When we start to slow down, it's us choosing dopamine that happens over a period of minutes or hours instead of moments. Number three is I made curiosity a practice. The last thing that I did a massive deep dive on is Rosalia's latest album, Lux. Lux, if you're American like me. Lux. Lux. Oh my gosh. All of the inspiration that she had, all of the different producers that she worked with, the songwriters, the instrumentalists, all of it. And I somehow stumbled upon this channel called Hildegard von Blingen because one of Rosalia's songs was inspired by Hildegard von Bingen, which I'll let you go down that rabbit hole. And then when I am overwhelmed and a little overstimulated, I will occasionally listen to pop hits as if they were sung in medieval times. This kind of stuff made me feel like my brain could still chase something. I wasn't just passively taking whatever the algorithm gave me. I purposefully went down this rabbit hole and I took notes. I have it in my media journal where I wrote down different quotes from her interview with Zane Lowe, and I started listening to new music. I learned new vocabulary for classical methods in music. I've said this before, but the internet is not a bad place. It's really how we use it that matters. And so how I practice it is when there is something that catches my eye, I put it in my notes app. I will copy it, I will link it, and when I have time, I will go back to it and I will take notes. I will learn something from it instead of just watching it and then scrolling, watching it and then scrolling. And then once I've watched it, I probably, especially if it's on TikTok or Instagram, I will unsave it. So then I have a clean slate. I know this sounds like it has to be like an everyday thing or it has to be a 5 hour rabbit hole. Sometimes my rabbit hole is 10 minutes. Sometimes instead of me going on Instagram, I'm like, oh, I've been wanting to learn about this one thing that I saw yesterday. So instead of me clicking on Instagram and scrolling, I click on Instagram and I watch that one video and then I write a few things down and then I do a little more research and it just is invigorating and it gets so exciting. And then my favorite part, you have to tell somebody about it. You have to talk to somebody about what you learned, or else it's going to go whoop, out of your head. Curiosity is another one of those things that help increase and improve your memory, and it strengthens neural connections linked to places in your brain that are in charge of planning and problem solving. I finally have gotten to this place where my brain is happier going deep than wide. I don't need to know everything on the internet. I can simply now enjoy the things that I want to learn and want to understand. Number 4 is moving every day and eating breakfast. So many of us can relate to this, that we have desk jobs, we are sitting all day long, we walk 200 steps, we survive off of coffee and vibes. And then yet we still wonder why our brain is foggy and we feel numb. Now I have an unfair advantage. I live in a city. I am able to walk everywhere. And if I can't walk, I can bike. I have tried my best to make walking or biking my default on any kinds of commutes. So my default is if it's 30 minutes or less, I will walk or bike. If it's a little bit further, I will most likely take the metro, but half of the time it is 30 minutes or less. I typically aim for 10,000 steps a day, but it's not about the number, it's about the ritual. It's about choosing to take a little bit further of a walk or walk during my lunch break instead of staying within the office. And again, like I said, we cannot keep surviving off of coffee and vibes. We must eat a little something. I love some eggs. I love some yogurt, some chia seed pudding. Don't knock it till you try it, okay? Exercise is associated with a higher BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And this protects neuron growth, learning, and protection against cognitive decline. And those high-protein breakfasts help stabilize your blood sugar so you aren't crashing midday and losing all of that focus that you work so hard to gain. Think about it this way. Your brain is a hungry organ. You need to feed it. You need to move it. And those two things helped my motivation problem shrink by like 50%. And number 5, the most humbling, I would say, learning a new language. J'habite à Paris depuis 2 ans. Mon français est pas mal, pas mauvais, mais je dois apprendre le français si je veux rester ici. Et ce que je veux pour toujours. Sure, it might sound like I know a thing or two. Mais non. But I have so much more to learn. I'm still stuck in these attempts of having conversations on subjects that I could so easily have a conversation in English, but I don't have the vocabulary, I don't have the grammar. I feel like a kid. It's sometimes embarrassing, especially when you make mistakes. Fun fact, there are 500,000 words in English and there are only 70,000 in French. And I swear 35,000 of those sound exactly like a bad word. But every single day, I swear, I get 1% better. And I start seeing the work that I put in actually paying off. I have a tutor that I work with now, but before I was taking group classes and I was doing things online and I was talking to my friends in French, asking a million questions, listening to music, watching different movies in French. And those tiny wins really, really made a world of difference. Language learning requires multiple brain regions, like attention, memory, control. It is a very dense cognitive workout, which in the end makes you have better cognitive flexibility. Also, there's this whole entire theory of the cognitive reserve, and being bilingual is known to help delay dementia symptoms by years. But my favorite lesson in this is that learning a new language forced me to be bad at something again. It's the patience and the focus and the slow reward that reminds me that I'm human. These 5 habits are things that I have seen real, tangible change in my life from. The trade-off is that I have a calmer and more curious brain, and I've let go of this fantasy of having to be hyper informed and hyper available because of this thing. Being smart is not about how much information we have anymore. We are inundated with information all day, every day. To me, it's all about whether our brains are capable of focus, simple joy, and original thought. So to recap, my 5 habits are real hobbies, slow dopamine, practicing curiosity, prioritizing movement and protein, and learning a new language. But please do not start with all 5. If any of these excited you, pick one, run with that, and see how you do for a week. If you want help actually protecting this new version of your brain, you can download Opal and add me as a friend at olivia.unplugged because boy, are we in this one together. It's one of the main reasons why these habits actually have stuck for me instead of them falling into the aspirational bucket. And if this helped you feel a little bit less alone in your brain, comment below and let me know what habit you're going to start for yourself. And subscribe so you don't miss another unplugged video. All right, time for me and maybe for you to log off. Bye.